Hello, Professor Gearhart and all my fellow classmates. I hope that you're doing well at this time and staying healthy. My name is Wendy. I chose two articles on the topic of education. My first article was published on CNN, and the name of the article is The Coronavirus Crisis Spotlights the Inequalities in American Education. It was written by Christina Maxouris and Alice Yu on April 17th. In this article, they highlighted a 10th grade student by the name of Lewis who says the only tools he has had to keep up with his 7 classes is his phone. He went on to explain that he is from Puerto Rico and he struggles through having parents who speak to little to no English, so they're not able to help him with his homework. He said in addition to that, he has bad internet connection and they don't have quite enough food to eat. He stated that he's a person that used to raise his hand in class, but now he has to rely on emails to answer questions. And of course, due to the poor internet connection that he has, he sometimes doesn't get an answer in time to submit the lesson before it would be late. My second article is entitled COVID-19 has laid bare the vast inequities in the U.S. public education. Now, this article was written by Valerie Strauss, who is a reporter, and she gave credit to Jack Snyder, who is the author of Beyond the Test Scores, and he's the co-host of Have You Heard, which is an educational podcast. I would like to read a brief excerpt from this article. There is something about a crisis that has a way of shining light on stark realities, and nowhere is that truer than in education. The closings of school during the COVID-19 pandemic and the quick switch to distance learning has laid bare the gaping and persistent inequities in educational opportunities that exist across the United States. In the research community, it is widely recognized that students transition into schools not from a blank slate, but from an unequal society. There was an educator who she quoted as by the name of Gloria Ladson Billings, and she cited the historical, economic, socio-political, and moral decisions and policies that characterize our society. Differences include school funding, facilities, curricular resources, teacher experience, and art and music education. Based on her report, I did a chart to list the differences. She states that most middle-class income are two-parent homes where they can split the responsibility of making sure their children are educated. At least one has a college degree. They have higher speed internet service. They have more web-enabled devices, personal home libraries, well-stocked pantries, and they also have the ability to order out if they do not want to cook or do not want to prepare a meal. They experience day trips, nature walks, second homes, more experienced teachers, well-rounded curriculum, and greater access to arts and music. She stated that low-income families are generally single-parent households that have less parental involvement, intergenerational poverty. One parent may have completed high school, inability to afford higher speed internet service, lack of sufficient internet-enabled devices, half the amount of books as middle-class families. They often struggle to put food on the table, and they are stranded in place, and some of their homes do not have utilities. And of course, we know that without utilities, you cannot have internet service. But based on personal research that I did on Facebook, I asked my friends what, if any, problems were they having as far as education-wise. One of my friends stated that she has 8 children that have to do their assignments, and they only have 3 computers. And she said this is also her work computer, which further puts a strain on the family and on the children's ability to complete their work on time. I also discovered that some students have physical, mental, and emotional disabilities, and it hinders their access to complete their lessons on the computer because some cannot complete their lessons on the computer. Some are technologically challenged, especially some of our older generations said that they are technologically challenged and they find it hard to complete assignments online. Some do not have computers and some do not have internet access. Some said the time constraints, such as they have to work from home or they have to leave home. Those that are in essential services must leave home in order to go to work and provide for their families, and then they have to come home and complete their own assignments. And then they said often the lessons are closed before they have an opportunity to reach their instructors for clarity on how the assignment should be done. Now, my background is that I homeschooled one of my children, two of my children, and I also homeschooled my grandchildren. And what I learned that was that most of them had different learning styles. So I went online and I took the VARK Learning Style Inventory, which revealed that I'm a multimodality learner, which means that I learn best through hands-on reading, writing, and music. There are those, however, that are visual, and they call it spatial, and they prefer using pictures, images, and spatial understanding. Then you have the auditory musical learners who prefer using sound and music. You have linguistic who prefer to use words. They prefer to talk and to write. They talk things out and and that's how they learn. They have to talk it out, and they also have to enjoy writing. Then you have the kinesthetic, the ones who like to use their bodies, such as dancing, or they use their hands, they use their sense of touch. They are called kinesthetic again. Mathematical, there are some who prefer to use logic and reasoning, and everything has to be set up as in some form of system in order for them to learn. Then you have the interpersonal, they prefer to learn in group or with other people. They don't do well when learning alone, but if you put them in a group, they learn well. Then you have the intrapersonal, which prefer to work alone and use self-study. If you're interested in taking this learning style inventories test, you can go to https://VARK. Let me spell that for you. VARK. V like Victor, ARK learn.com /the VARK-questionnaire. And you will be able to take, it's a 20 question test, but it may help you to reveal the way that you learn best or the way that you enjoy learning more. I hope that you have enjoyed this presentation. Please stay healthy, happy, and safe. Thank you very much.